Hello, I'm very happy to this interview with Roy. Roy Walker from Sandford, one of the biggest companies in UK. I'm very happy because, Roy is one of the oldest guy in the freight forwarder. He's not so old, but he has a lot of experience. Hello, Roy. How are you?
I'm very well, Juan. Thank you very much. And how are you, my friend?
Great, great. I'm watching the picture with your family. My first question is, how are you? How is your family in UK? What is the situation of COVID today?
All well. We're all fit and healthy. Thank you very much indeed. Family is all good. He works for me, my son Daniel, who's going to be participating in the virtual conferences that we have coming up in November. He's been with me now 7 years. But we as a company and COVID and everything, it's been a tough 6 months, I have to say, probably like everybody else around the world. We're all facing the issues of how we deal with the situation, with staff, with our customers, with the airlines, with the shipping lines. It's been something that nobody has been able to plan for in advance. And basically it's taken each day as it comes, as far as I'm concerned. No 2 days are the same. Following the government rules and the regulations, it's been very, very, very interesting. But also, obviously, a lot of the time, as an owner manager of a company, it's been very stressful as well. Trying to manage the cash flow with your customers, trying to manage your customers' expectations, and everything is that much more difficult to deal with now. Everything's taking longer.
In England, United Kingdom is one of the area where everyone expect to have the solution.
Yes.
What is your idea about the future of the war? Because I believe that your country is one of the who have the knowledge to have the solution of this problem.
We have lots of the scientists working at the moment to try and find a solution in terms of the vaccination and everything. The government obviously has taken a huge amount of advice from our chief scientific people, and they're following those guidelines. And for the time being, it's so difficult to know, because they keep talking about they've trialed this vaccination, they've trialed that vaccination, and I guess until the world is, until they've found the right solution, nobody can make any plans to do anything at the moment. As you say, we have some of the best medical doctors, scientists in the world for sure, and we have all the right facilities. But ultimately, until someone comes up with a complete cure, I don't know what the solution is. We are now at the moment in the UK, we're coming into our winter months when most people will be indoors a lot more than they were in the summer. And obviously, I just think that it's gonna get worse again now before it gets better. And the worry is that the hospitals will all be overrun again. That's the problem. That everyone can only do what they can do and just follow the guidelines. Keep the social distancing, usual things, following, washing hands, and just trying not to mingle with too many people at the moment. But yes, you're right. UK is a market leader in global science and everything else. So you have to hope that between probably the UK, potentially Germany, and maybe the US or whatever, that between us we can find a vaccination that will help everybody. But it's a tough situation out there, very tough at the moment.
The war is hoping to find a solution.
Yes. Correct, and I mean, until we find that solution, everybody is in limbo. The word I call it is limbo. That's the word you can only describe, because you can't make any long-term plans. You can't plan to go on business trips. You can't plan to go on holidays. You can't plan to, meet huge amounts of your family because you're not allowed to. So at the moment, nobody can make any long-term plans. You only plan literally week to week at the moment, because again, the government regulations here, especially in the UK, they're changing near enough every 2 or 3 days. They're changing. We have a tier system in place at the moment, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. and it's regionalised in the UK at the moment. So we have certain parts of the country that are on a different lockdown to another part of the country. So for me, we're obviously in London, Heathrow, London Heathrow, so we're in the south of the country. So at the moment we're in tier 1. If you're in Manchester, or you're in Liverpool, or you're in Newcastle, which is in the northern part of the country, you're in a more stricter lockdown period at the moment. And these are fluid at the moment. The government are changing the regulations on a, every other couple of days we're getting different regulations. I don't know if it's like Argentina. We have, at the moment, we have all the bars and the restaurants, they have to close at 10 p.m. We can only mingle with maximum six people. So we have the rule of 6. So you can only socialise with 6 people from outside of your household, or 6 people in total. But yes, all the pubs, all the restaurants are closing at 10 p.m. But there's every chance by the end of this week, Friday, we have school holidays here in the UK for 2 weeks. There's every chance we may go on to this, what we call a circuit breaker. They're planning on locking down potentially the whole country for the next 2 weeks. And that will mean everything being closed other than essential supermarkets for shopping and stuff. Everything will be closed, and probably potentially offices as well. So staff will all have to go back to working from home.
Incredible. But for me, it's so important to know more information around the world, because you are in the most important point of we have a hope to find a solution. But the way, for me, it's very important that after a successful conference in Miami, yes, that you are participate, Roy. Yes. Let me a little bit for the new agents, for the companies who wants to know more about freight forwarder in UK. Tell me a little bit the history of Sandford, how you are working today, how you can manage this COVID situation.
Sure, no problem. So the background on Sandford Freight is that we started as a freight forwarding company in Ireland, in Dublin, in 1979. And then we established the office here at Heathrow Airport in 1998. So we've been successfully trading now for 22 years here in the UK, and we're still trading in Ireland for nearly 50 years now. So as a company, we specialise in all modes of transport. We do air, we do sea, we do road. We do a lot of project cargo. Our business is, the UK has no defined one trade. So we trade with most countries around the world. The UK tends to trade with everybody. So of course we do in China, we do in Asia, but we do a lot of work with the US, with Canada, South America, Middle East. So we're trading with most of the countries around the world at the moment. As a company, we're an IATA registered freight forwarder. We're also members of FIATA. We're an AEO approved forwarder, which stands for an authorized economic operator. So we've been licensed by customs to do customs entries. We're a licensed customs broker. So we do all of our own customs entries at Heathrow for air freight. And we also do customs clearance at Manchester and Glasgow for air freight entries. And in the UK for sea freight, we handle customs entries at Felixstowe, Southampton, Liverpool, London Gateway, all the main UK ports. We as a company, we believe, my motto is we're all about service. I mean, obviously we're up against the big freight forwarding companies, the multinational agents. So we have to stand out from the crowd, and we can only do that by making sure we give good value customer service. A lot of my staff, like me, have been in the freight industry for more than 30 years. So we bring a lot of knowledge with us to customers, especially when they don't know that much about freight forwarding, how to do customs entries, tariff numbers, various different types of, things that they need. So we're here to give them a lot of guidance, to be honest with you. So yeah, I mean, as a freight forwarding company, we're small enough that we care, but we're big enough that we have the buying power with the airlines and the shipping lines that can make a difference for customers on long-term contracts. We've invested heavily in the last couple of years in software. You know, we have various different platforms that we offer our customers to do with purchase order management, especially for the larger importers that are bringing in big volumes of containers. So obviously, you know, whilst we embrace good old customer service values, we also try and look forward to the new technology for the younger members of staff that you know, that need all that. And people obviously want to deal with, you know, companies that are forward thinking. I like to think that we're that, you know. And the reason we join networks and stuff, like especially the America Alliance, is to grow our base around the world. We like the fact that there's a lot of agents, especially from South America, which for us is a developing market. You know, and obviously having attended your conference last year in Miami, it was lovely to meet people from new areas that I've never had the pleasure of meeting people from, especially a lot of South American countries where we don't have particular agency representation. So I think that was a very good point for me.
I know you have a lot of experience in networking and sales, Roy.
Yes.
What do you think about not only recommendation to me, what
Yes.
do you think about the future of this business? How is going on?
Well, again, as you mentioned, you know, I think the business is you know, the global freight forwarding business. People deal with people, okay? I think it's very, very important to, you know, you have to go and obviously at the moment we can't do that. That's why we're having a virtual conference. But I think it's really important to go and talk to people face to face. You get to know people, not just in a professional capacity of dealing with business, but most of the time, you know, again, I believe in friendship comes first and then business follows a lot of the time. So I've always found in my experience of networking for the last 25, 30 years, you know, you do most of your business deals, believe it or not, a lot of them are done at the bar. Okay. You know, in the social activities, you get to know people's personalities and everything. And, you know, you want to go away from a conference creating the right impression that people can remember you. If you go to a conference, you say, oh, I met this guy from blah, 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 and you scratch your head because you can't remember them because they didn't stand out from the crowd. You've got to make sure you sort of are able to stand out from the crowd a little bit to make sure because people, as I say, people deal with people. Okay. If you're, you know, if you're very quiet, you know, everyone's got their plus points. You know, some people are very good operational people, but they're not a good communicator. Okay, so they're very knowledgeable, but they're not outgoing. They can't speak to people on a one-to-one. You know, it's quite daunting. You know, if you send someone to a conference and you've got 100 people there, or 100, 200 people, you don't know anybody. If you're not prepared to engage and make conversation with people, then nobody's going to remember you. You know, so I think it's really important to make sure you go out and visit the customers when you're allowed to do so. If you're not able to do that, it's picking up the telephone and speaking to people. You know, it's all well and good having email. We all communicate over email, but I think there's nothing wrong with every now and again having a WhatsApp call to people. Obviously now we're doing video conferencing. So I think it's important just to make sure you know, you go and communicate and talk to people. You can do that through social media, through your Facebook and through your Twitter and all those type of things, but that's not the same as personalized meeting people and talking to people. So I think conferences, you know, making sure you push the sales, whether it's you or whether it's your operational people. Your operational people are your first interaction with customers a lot of the time. It's making sure they are all trained to make sure they can negotiate with the airlines, the shipping lines, but equally engage with the customer and see what else, you know, see what the customer needs.
It's so important. 3 points that you are saying about first, the importance of the connection with the people.
Yep.
Second, that the social media is important, but it's not enough. We need to do more things. And third, the connection of the rest of our company, not only the boss, the president, customer service, pricing department, salespeople, all connect to sell.
Yes.
In this case, Sandford, showing that we can offer a great job, a great service. Roy, Walker from UK, Stamford. What do you think about the next steps that we will believe? Mostly because this interview will be very, very great in South America, and you are in the future. Europe are in the future. We were living 1 month before, you are living before we receive the future. What do you think that will be the future of our market in the near
Do you mean in the South America? You mean the South American market, Juan, or are you talking about the global market?
The global market. The global market.
Yeah, I mean the global market is still dominated, as we know, by China and by the USA. They're the two main superpowers. We all know that. But I do believe there's an awful lot of emerging markets now. You know, a lot of people are shifting away, looking at Cambodia, looking at Laos. These seem to be places, especially in Asia, Vietnam, that people are looking for because the cost of producing stuff in China and everything is expensive now. Equally, you know, a lot of people, we're getting more and more inquiries now for things for South America. People before have been skeptical about, especially buying maybe British goods, because obviously there's language barriers. Not a lot of people in England speak Spanish, for example. But you know, I'm thinking that people are cutting through the language barriers now. So there's an awful lot of countries in South America. Mexico, for example, is obviously a place that's got big potential, you know, because obviously the cost of producing stuff there is considerably cheaper than, say, the US, for example, with the labor costs and stuff. So again, that's a big area to explore. I think that, and Mexico's got the capabilities, I think, and the infrastructure to be able to do more. So I think South America, for us, is certainly a big area that we're trying to look at pushing at the moment. You know, we haven't come on to the subject, but I'm sure you're going to ask me later about Brexit and how that's going to affect the UK. But I mean, we look at obviously areas where, you know, as a company that have been maybe difficult to deal with, and we're looking at solutions to try and find, you know, a lot of people struggle with moving cargo into certain Arabic countries, shall we say, because obviously there's cross-border problems and stuff, political issues over in certain countries. So we're always trying to look at areas where we think that, you know, not a lot of forwarders are venturing into. You know, if I use my experience in the last 30 years, you know, there's not that many freight forwarders that have good agents in certain parts of Africa, for example. Everyone has an agent in South Africa or Egypt or somewhere like that, but there's an awful lot of countries in Central Africa that need exploring that we don't have agency representation in, for sure. The same would apply to certain countries, as you say, in Central America, for example. You know, not South America, but Central America. That's another area that's really not explored. Whether there's a market for UK products in those countries, I don't know. But, you know, it'd certainly be nice to meet agents from those countries to try and look at establishing business with those countries. And that's where the forefront of, you know, joining networks and meeting people comes from.
Great, Roy. Your ideas are very clear about all of that points.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your time.
You're not going to ask me about Brexit then, Juan, no?
Sorry?
You're not going to ask me about Brexit. Everyone wants to know about Brexit. The problem is we're going to be leaving the European Union in the end of December, and at the moment we have nothing we can tell anybody other than the government still hasn't reached a resolution with Brussels. So until the UK government comes up with some sort of policy, at the moment we're all in the dark at the moment in the UK. That is the problem. You know, so not only do we have to worry about COVID-19, we have to worry about all our customs situation changing from the 1st of January 2021, and we as a freight forwarder, and we're in the same boat as every other UK freight forwarder. Nobody has a clear strategy or a clear plan of what they're going to do. That's the problem.
Incredible. The situation of Brexit, we will make that's the difficulties that we already have give you more difficult to manage your customer, your business. The Brexit, yes.
We've got software. We've invested in the software. We've invested in all the training. But the problem is, until we get a blueprint from the government of exactly what we're going to be doing, especially when we're doing shipments, for example, into Ireland. Ireland is the single biggest problem because Ireland has Southern Ireland and it has Northern Ireland, and there's no proper border between the two. So until we get a blueprint of what we're supposed to be doing, nobody knows. That's the problem.
Do you believe that have any chance to UK come back to the Brexit?
No. The UK, we took the choice when we were given the freedom to vote 4 years ago, and obviously the government, the UK voted to vote out, so the government is following that policy. So there's no chance of a U-turn. It's just whether or not the UK now can negotiate some form of a deal with the rest of Europe, or whether we leave without any deal whatsoever. And that's the big question.
I believe that my government was bad, but I understand that the governments around the world have a lot of problems. It's incredible. I believe that you are in the first world, but difficult is for everyone. It's incredible how that kind of things difficult to developing not only your work in the middle of the pandemic.
But you also have to look at it as a potential chance to grow your business, because obviously us being a customs broker and a licensed customs, there's every chance that if we need to do additional customs entries for truckloads that are coming in from Europe and going out to Europe, then obviously we're going to need to do that, and that'll add extra work to us, which is, the government is, I can't fault the government in terms of support. I mean, they've invested up to £50 million in terms of grants for freight forwarders and logistics companies to get your staff trained. So they've given us a lot of support financially. So we're all there. So there's every chance that we can all, increase our business due to Brexit if we're told what's going to happen by doing more customs entries. You have to remember, at the moment, when you export cargo or import cargo from the EU, you don't need any customs paperwork. It's free movement. But as soon as 1st of January comes, every single shipment that goes to or from the UK is going to need some form of customs entry. And obviously it's just making sure that as a forwarder, you're in that right position to be able to gain extra work for doing it.
What a change, incredible how the things are changing in the last year. Thank you very much, Roy, for your time. I hope to see you soon. I give you a few minutes to close this interview, because for me it's very important that you show all your knowledge. Thank you very much, Roy.
Thank you, Juan. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about my company, talk about my experiences in the networks. And as I say, I've had 25 years of networking experience. I love meeting people. I hope I can continue to meet people when we have our next face-to-face meeting, hopefully sometime next year, all being well, if we're allowed to travel, of course. And obviously I look forward to meeting lots of people at the virtual conference, which I think is a fantastic idea, to keep everybody talking about networks, to get people engaging. And I look forward to speaking to people in the 3rd to the 5th of November at your virtual conference. And again, thank you for allowing me the time to speak about my company and speak about all the things that are happening at the moment. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you, Roy. Have a great week.
Thanks, Juan. Take care. Thank you very much. Thank you. Finish?